Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Stefanik.
I'm George Stefanik. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
The James Golden Show
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
What about Democrats on Democrats? Democrats' net approval rating of congressional Democrats. I want you to keep in mind, they had never rated Democrats negatively until this year. And right now, what are we talking about? We're talking about a net approval rating from Democrats. This is Democrats on Democrats. Their approval rating is actually lower than the disapproval rating, and that is quite the drop from October. I think during the shutdown, there was a bit of a boost for Democrats, right? There was a rallying around the flag effect going on. But Democrats did not like how that shutdown turned out. They have returned against Democrats in Congress. And you mentioned Dan Goldman in that intro. One of the reasons that Dan Goldman is in trouble right now in a potential primary against Brad Ladner is because at this point the Democratic base is so upset with Democrats.
Feeling like democracy died today. This is history happening today, and we should all be shocked that a felon, a convicted felon, and a thug, and by all means a grifter, has just stuck his name on top of a national monument. This is a desecration.
Welcome, my friends, to this Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe as we move into Christmas week. We are 5 days away. Oh, by the way, today, if you're in the New York City area, if you're visiting New York from wherever you are in this great country of ours and you're listening in and you are in the New York City area, it may not be too late if you go to homefortheholidays2025.com to secure yourself a ticket to see Mr. Christmas in New York, Vinny Medugno, who's going to be at the Studio 77 in the heart of New York City. You want more information about that? And yeah, Mr. Christmas, Slay the Night Away, live performances, ugly sweaters on parade, bunch of jolly friends, winter in New York, holidays2025.com. And go check that out tonight if you're in the New York area. If you're around the country and you are celebrating, there was snow and cold weather across this great land in a few places. If that's you and you're in one of those locations where the Arctic vortex hit, stay warm. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. 800-848-9222. Okay, what's on the table for today? Well, we're looking forward to catching up with Princess Di. I believe she may be on the road. And we are looking forward to catching up with America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock. We're looking forward to catching up with our very own Lizzie Radabali. And, of course, your telephone calls at 800-848-9222 as we move on down the road. Okay, big news today. We started with two things, the Democrats' horrible poll numbers. We have another one from Harry Enton over at CNN. I will say this about that guy. He doesn't pull punches no matter what. Sometimes you will like what he's coming up with in the polls. Sometimes you won't. But I honestly think that there is a pollster that I have so much confidence in. Raghavan Mayur with the TIPP poll. And his polls are just extremely accurate. And he's another one that doesn't pull punches. And I'm wondering if this guy, Hinton is in the same category. Another one that when he says something to polling data, you know it's reliable. He doesn't mince. And it doesn't look like to me that he does. So Democrats should be concerned about the polling that they're getting from him. He did something, cut 33, Elias, and this may have some of the same information. I've been holding this one for almost a week, but this is one of the things that he said earlier, too. Maybe the same information.
How are voters feeling about Democrats right now?
Yeah, I mean, Democrats in the minds of the American public are lower than the Dead Sea. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look. The net approval rating for Democrats in Congress, you said it, Kate Baldwin, the lowest ever. Look at this. Overall, they are 55 points underwater. Their approval rating is south of 20%. It's even worse when you look at independents. Look at this. Negative 61 points. That means that their approval rating is 61 points lower than their disapproval rating. Quinnipiac has been polling this question for the better part of the 21st century. They have never found Democrats, at least those in Congress, in worse shape than they are right now.
Yep. Ooh, Adam is on the line already, and I see the subject line, and we were going to get to that. Elise Stefanik dropped out of the governor's race. Elise Stefanik dropped out, says she's done with Congress. And since Adam is on the line and other people are calling in right now, I'm going to get to that fairly soon. There is a Washington Post story on that. I didn't even bother to post or print. Princess Diana has not left yet from her palatial encampment, the palace grounds. She will be taking a trip later, I guess, as soon as her escort and entourage have all arranged the logistics. You know, when the princess moves, it's security forces, it's advanced teams. It's complicated. So I guess they're pulling all that together, and she's going to be with us. Let's see. Okay, Elise Stefanik yesterday said, I'm done. The move culminates a year of political whiplash for Stefanik. Once the most powerful woman in the House GOP, a moderate who later allied herself closely with Donald Trump and the MAGA ethos. And they go on to say that it comes after the move after a Nassau County, for those of you unfamiliar with New York, if you look at New York and see a little piece hanging off of New York, jutting into the ocean, that would be Long Island, Long Island. And so Nassau County is one of the counties in Long Island. And their county executive, Bruce Blankman, a longtime ally of Donald Trump, unexpectedly had jumped into the race. And one of the posts that Stefanik said that she says she would have overwhelmingly won in the gubernatorial primary. It's not an effective use of our time or your generous resources to spend the first half of the year in an unnecessary and protracted Republican primary, especially in a challenging state like New York. Now, I'm telling you, I'm reading a lot between the lines there. And, you know, Trump hadn't officially endorsed her either, apparently. Oh, let me see. Lord Baltimore is checking in, too. Lord Baltimore, let me see. Oh, Al Roker explained this week, apparently, Lord Baltimore says, in how global warming was responsible for the cold weather. And there's nothing that can be. We have that. Elias, I may send you that. Lord Baltimore sent the soundbite of old Al Roker. We may just tee that up and put that in. I'll send it to you in a little bit when we get to a profit location. So, without further ado then, since Adam is on the line, we may as well just get this started right now. Adam from Long Island in New York, where this Republican jumped in the race, and apparently that was the I've had enough from Elise Stefanik. What do you, Adam, first of all, Merry Christmas, Adam.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Now, Adam, what do you think? Elise Stefanik is not going to run for governor. She's going to say, and she's had enough of Congress too. You know, she had that dust up with Speaker Johnson, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. I think she was threatened by somebody or something. But she couldn't beat Kathy Hochul anyway, so that was.
What do you mean she couldn't beat Kathy Hochul?
She can't beat nobody, man. Who's she gonna beat? How?
Kathy Hochul's the worst governor, one of the worst governors in New York State history. Yes,
no, that's not true. That's
yes,
not true,
yes.
sir.
Do you know what she just did last week? Do you know what she just did last week? She signed on to this business of, oh, you want to commit suicide? Go ahead. New York is a culture of death. And then she claimed, oh, you know, I had a really strong argument with my I'm paraphrasing here. I had a really strong argument with my conscience because that goes against church teachings. But like all good Democrats, screw their own religion, screw their own convictions. When it comes to politics, they put the liberal politics first ahead of everything else. So, yeah, you want to commit suicide? Come on. New York is the place to do it.
Okay, well, that's one thing, sir. That's what sound like one.
It's not just one thing. And then she walked back and forth on this whole Mondami thing, which is going to be, that nightmare starts on January 1st. And that ought to be a fun nightmare to watch. You know, Eric Adams put a little political knife in the back of Mondami and appointed for people to that rent board in New York. So all this business about how they're going to screw the landlords and kick the landlords to the curb may have to wait for a year. But that, and Hochul just, yeah, talk out of both sides of her mouth on that.
Okay, Eric Adams, he did a Republican move to Mondami. That's what he did to me. Something that a Republican would do to your predecessor, guy that's taking over for you. But Mondami going to get around
by not screwing the landlords?
That's just talking. You got to see what happens. You know, you got to give a man a chance. He won the race.
Yeah, I know. I can't look. Wait a minute. Don't get me, Adam. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do.
Okay.
I think at the end of this, look, here is the way that this is going to work. I think, and we'll have time to talk about this, God willing. Both of us are still here to see it. This is a win-win. If he gets the stuff that he wants and destroys New York, he's going to be the poster boy for the socialist progressive revolution, and it's going to hurt the rest of the party anyway in places where there are still a few sane Democrats left. If he doesn't get what he wants, and New York is somehow not destroyed from all this nonsense that he's proposing, then his progressive base is going to be mad. And they're going to get upset. So, to me, this is like grab the popcorn and let's watch what happens here.
That's what MAGA is doing to the Republican Party, destroying it. And they're jumping
What are you talking
ship.
about?
They're bailing out.
What you talking about?
Come on, you see Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said it's going down, and it's going down. So, you know.
When did Marjorie Taylor Greene become the expert? You know, I love this. As soon as everybody on your side hated Marjorie Taylor Greene until she started talking smack. And now that's what you get. I like her. Hell, everybody's saying, when is she gonna be on The View? Is CNN gonna offer her a job? Maybe MS Now, or whatever they call themselves these days, might give her a job. As soon as she starts hating on Republicans, then y'all love her.
She's not hating, sir. She's just keeping it real. I mean, you know, what did she say wrong? Tell me.
What did she say right? Tell me. In terms of policy. Yeah. You know, come on. I'm not going to trash her because I got enough. There are too many DQs out here anyway.
Right.
And you know what I mean by DQ, right?
Disqualifications? No.
Drama queens.
Oh, okay.
Always in the news with some drama. By the way, you know, I understand she did okay for herself with her time in Congress. Some people place, and I don't know whether this is accurate or not, because these things, you read them, you don't know whether anyone has any real inside information or not. But some of the estimates are she's leaving Congress $25 million richer than when she came in. Now, again, I don't know whether that's accurate or not.
Right. Well, she was right on point with that Epstein stuff. You see what's coming out now about the Epstein file? Come on now. You see what's coming out?
Yeah, I do. Boring. Okay. Oh, guess what?
Now it's boring. Right.
It was always boring to me. Bill Clinton, we got to take a break on, but Epstein, Bill Clinton is in a hot tub half naked. Whoa, breaking news. Bill Clinton half naked.
Your president was a 14-year-old girl, too.
I don't know. No one got the girl's age that he was in there with.
Okay.
But come on. Bill Clinton naked with the chick? Breaking news. Really?
Page is redacted. Everything redacted. The victims wanted to come out. The victims don't care about something coming out. Let it out. The victims wanted to come out, and they still hiding it.
I don't care. I'm past it with, we got to break Adam. My engineer's like, you, please. Adam, I love you. Merry Christmas. And I hope to talk with you in the new year, my friend.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Enjoy.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let's see if I can squeeze this in real quick. 28. This is also in the news. We're going to get to everything we can. Cut 28. This is Tennessee Representative Steve Cohen. And this is a common refrain among Democrats.
We don't know exactly what street crime is, but we know when we say we're going to go in with ICE and take out the people that committed the most serious offenses, the worst of the worst. We mentioned crime as homicide. We mentioned rape. We mentioned pedophiles. We know who those people are. But they're arresting people simply for the offense of being in the country illegally. It's not right, but it's not necessarily something that should cause deportation when they are not committing crimes and they are contributing to the economy. So that's a concern we have.
So, and this immigration thing is still good. This is the favorite line of Democrats. Well, it's not. They're arresting people simply for being here illegally. Illegally isn't a crime to them. They're arresting illegals for being illegal. They're arresting illegal people that are here illegally, that came in illegally. How dare them? They're arresting illegals that are in the country illegally. And they're not just arresting. I don't know whether these Democrats missed the entire campaign season when President Trump said he was going to enact the largest deportation effort in American history. And he didn't say, and only hardcore criminals and everybody else that's here illegally gets a pass. That was never part of it. So we have more, my friends, the hysteria over the Kennedy Center, the hysteria over the DOJ not releasing all the Epstein stuff. I am so bored with that story. Yeah, breaking news. Bill Clinton was in a hot tub half naked. Imagine that.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yesterday I heard you guys talking when we were talking about all this cold air, and you said, well, if the planet's warming, how come it's so cold? So we thought we would answer that for you. So Arctic air is contained by this polar vortex. It keeps it up there in the Arctic. However, as the planet is warming, climate change has actually caused significant warming up into the Arctic. So as that warm air comes up into the Arctic, that weakens the polar vortex, that boundary, and it allows that cold air to move south. And that is why climate change, global planet warming, actually allows some parts of the country to be colder than usual.
Okay, let me see if I understand this. Thank you, Lord Baltimore, for sending that in. So global warming is responsible for global cooling if you boil it down. It's warm up in the cold, so the cold says it's warm up here, I gotta go south. But if it's cold, then don't try to, never mind. Don't, it's, yeah. On this day in 1973, the one, the only, Bobby Darin passed away. He was only 37 years old. One of the first teen idols. I love this song so much. Ella Fitzgerald did a version that's really... Dee Dee Bridgewater has a version on this that's outstanding. Frank Sinatra, of course, kills it. And then Frank did a version with George Benson, produced by Quincy Jones, on this song that is outstanding. Oh, Blue Eyes. Dream Lover was one of Bobby Darin's big ones. This one, huge. Bobby Darin was working with Robert Kennedy Sr. during his presidential run. He was with Senator Kennedy when he was assassinated that night at the Ambassador Hotel in L.A. Mac the Knife. Oh, Lucy Brown. Okay, we have some calls coming in. I want to get to some of them as soon as we can. I never have enough time to spend with Chris from the Catskills, so I'm going to take that call now because this guy, folks, I love this. Chris, you have analysis that I always find so interesting, whether we agree or not.
Good morning,
is
James.
Insignificant. Good morning.
Good morning, James. I went to an Antonio Delgado fundraiser on Wednesday night in Kingston, and I happen to know Antonio from when he was my congressman, and I know his mother-in-law, who owns a business in my town, and he had a decent little turnout, but there was somebody from the Working Families Party there wearing a T-shirt, and I struck a conversation up with them, and he's like the Working Families Club director for the county because they don't have a party boss. And I said, hey, are they going to give both candidates a Wilson Bakula and let them battle it out in the primary? So I engaged several times with them during the night. The Working Families Party is going to endorse Antonio Delgado over Hochul. And do you think, in your opinion, that's going to have any bearing at all, if any, on the primary outcome? Because any of the polls that I look up, he's down by like 40 or 50 points from 5 or 6 months ago. There hasn't really been any decent recent polls on then. And then this is relevant with Stefanik dropping out yesterday.
I don't think he has a shot at all. I think Hochul is a shoo-in for the Democrat nominee. A shoo-in. Just don't waste your time, don't waste your money running against her. That said, I don't know now whether I have not researched this Republican candidate from Nassau County. I don't know what his chances are, but to me, at least Stefanik was, in my mind, just the best head-to-head matchup that you could hope for. Knowledgeable, a great fundraiser, understands nuance of issues. I'm sorry she's leaving, period. This is politics. What can you do about it? So I don't know now whether, and I'm not knocking, maybe Republicans do have a chance, depends on the campaign, depends on the candidate. But I think Stefanik would have taken the race to Hochul, without a doubt.
Hey, you asked me a question about health care, about subsidizing when we talked a couple weeks ago about if I thought it was okay if somebody making $200,000 was getting subsidized versus people that are in the low income area that are getting their health care plan subsidized Now, I didn't have an answer for you, and I researched it. In New York State of Health, the exchange program that New York State uses, like states' rights of their allocation of Medicare funding, of Medicaid funding, to subsidize plans, which New York is like one of 6 states that does that in the entire country with that specific type of setup. A family of 5 earning $97,500, that would be the most that family of 5 could earn in order to get into the exchange program and have the family plan subsidized, to answer your question.
Okay. So it doesn't look like there's a lot of that going on in New York, where you have people that are on the lower end of the bracket subsidizing people on the higher end of the brackets, healthcare.
Yeah, if you're a single person in New York, you have to make like just over $39,000 is the threshold for next year, where you would get a plan on the essential plan, and you wouldn't have any monthly premium.
Let me ask you a question, and because one of the things I love talking with you about is I know you're going to be honest and not give me political spin, and I love that about you, Chris. So let me just ask you a really honest, for your honest answer about Obamacare. In your mind, has Obamacare delivered to the country what was promised?
The Affordable Care Act, I think, has fell short in a couple ways. In the initial setup, there was too much money in the computer setup costs. There wasn't enough RFP, multiple bidders, that put the contract bids in for service to the federal government. So the companies that ended up getting hired, they gouged up the costs of that, and there wasn't government oversight and competition in the bidding process. So that was the first problem. And then essentially the biggest problem is, getting into, not to bash it, but the idea of shopping for healthcare plans across state lines. Like, health insurance doesn't work that way, because if you're in a large state like New York, where it's geographically relatively large, but it's populated through the entire state. I mean, rural in the Northeast isn't like rural in the far west part of the country or the Midwest. It's different. So you have 7 different healthcare regions in New York State. So your health insurance plan is based on the county you live in. So you might have difficulty if you live in Western New York. You have to pick a particular health insurance plan where the doctors and hospitals, specialists are going to, if you wanted to see a specialist in New York City and drive from the Syracuse area or from Horseheads, New York, and go see a specialist in Albany or New York City, not all insurance plans are going to allow you to do that. So,
okay, but this is why people should be able to shop for what they need. But let me ask you a more fundamental question.
The government would have to force providers to take all insurance plans. So that's where it needs to be tweaked. And listen, the biggest, I'll tell you what the problem.
Let me just, Chris. I'm sorry to interrupt you. because time is short. And I want to ask you a crucial question. Do you think it is fundamentally fair that the big insurance companies, who 80% of their political donations go to the Democrat Party, almost 80%, do you think it's fair that their profit has soared, I believe I read, over 200% or 2,000%, whatever it is? They have made themselves extremely wealthy, while at the same time denying coverage to so many people on the basis of what do they do? Why are we making insurance companies wealthy, and at the same time they're charging these outrageous increases? Do you not see that there is something wrong with this system?
I think healthcare executives, these graduate programs in healthcare administration, they are creating an evil group of people that are like a plague to the healthcare system, and they're destroying it. The biggest problem in our healthcare system is that there's always going to be a disparity, especially in a profit-driven system, but in any system. The quality of accessible healthcare for populated, areas where there's a lot of business commerce, regions of the country versus rural parts of the country. You're not going to have the same quality of doctors, specialists, hospitals, providers, period. The government could throw billions of dollars at that problem, and it's still going to exist. So what the problem, and there's other issues where insurance companies dictate treatments, okay?
And they shouldn't be.
No, but there's highly advanced surgical procedures that are done overseas in Europe and Scandinavia where they're decades ahead of where we are in the United States at like advanced microsurgical techniques. And the problem is the insurance companies don't recognize the advancements that are done in Europe and Scandinavia.
That's what I'm saying. That's part of all of them.
They don't look into causational factor. Western medicine doesn't look into causational factor, so it ends up costing more money because they're doing diagnostic testing to try and figure out what's wrong with somebody, why they're ill, why they're sick, what disease they have. Because they don't look at causational factor, there's money wasted in the system for tests that come back inconclusive. And they need to look at what's being done successfully in countries like Singapore, in Germany, in France, in the United Kingdom, where there's many specialty fields and surgical areas where they look at causational factor. And all the research in causational factor, when you read peer-reviewed medical journal articles, is done in these other parts of the world, not in the United States.
Chris, you put a lot on the table there, and I don't know whether I got an answer to my basic question. Do you think it's fair that these insurance companies are scoring billions?
No,
billions?
It's not fair. It's not fair. And it's the
this whole system sucks.
And
let me tell you something. I'm not going to
to
dress it up. The Obamacare, in my mind, was a huge money laundering scam to help the elected Democrats. They make the insurance company rich. The insurance companies make sure they stay in power. To me, it boils down to a scam. And in the middle of it, the American people get screwed once again.
But both parties have to realize what the problems are and work together to try and mitigate them.
I agree with that. See, we always end up in a place where we agree. I agree with that, Chris. But that requires honesty. And Democrats are not going to ever be honest about this scam that they created and shoved down America's throat at Christmas time in 2009. I got to go. We are late.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Teddy, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, my friend. How are you, Teddy?
Okay, happy Hanukkah, too. And
happy Hanukkah, too, yes.
Yeah,
and happy Kwanzaa, by the way.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Do you celebrate Kwanzaa?
No, I don't. I celebrate Hanukkah, and I light the candles each night. Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay, before we do that, Teddy, I just want to ask you a question in Little Ebonic language so we can share in cultural exchange. I want to ask you a question. Aren't you so happy to see that the Kennedy Center has been restored and now it has the name, the Donald J. Trump, John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts?
No, I'm not. I detest that he changed it unilaterally, okay? I detest it, okay? It should be still the original Kennedy
The place was falling apart. It needed a reboot, so he rebooted it.
He reboots his brain. He's the most egotistical, self-centered, insecure individual that I have ever heard of.
Really? You know who you sound like? That sound Jim Acosta. We have it in the bank. He did it. Anyway, what did you call in to talk about?
I called about the electric bills that are going up throughout the country, and he talks about it's all a sham, it's all a scam.
Wait a minute, have your electric bills? Let me ask you another question. Have your electric bills gone up, Teddy?
Yes, they have tremendously.
You know who you need to talk to about that? Conned by Edison.
Oh, stop it, Bo. Trump, his denial of lack of affordability, he's insane.
Oh, the new word, affordability.
Teddy says from Yonkers, and I want everybody on your listening audience to know this.
Yes.
He's the worst president that we've ever had. You hear me? The worst. Okay?
Worse than Ulysses S. Grant?
I would take Ulysses.
Worse than that horrible racist Woodrow Wilson? You know, Woodrow Wilson played that Klan movie in the White House, right? Worse than him?
He was bad, too. Okay,
but worse. I mean, I come on. And then we didn't even get to your warmonger presidents yet. We didn't even get to.
But why don't you criticize Trump? Why can't you criticize Trump? Okay, the way he handles.
I will when he does something that I disagree with.
Bo, you don't know what the hell you're talking about at times.
What do you mean?
Look what he said about Rob Reiner. Okay, the guy died.
Look what Rob Reiner said about. Look. Rob Reiner said a lot of things about Donald Trump. Did you hear what Rob Reiner said about Rush Limbaugh after Rush Limbaugh died? Come on now. Look, I don't believe in talking ill of the dead. But when people trash you and then you expect all of a sudden because they're dead that you forget that they trashed you, that doesn't work.
Even center Republicans criticized him.
So what? Republicans don't have onions. We know that. The Republicans, they're scared of what's going to be said about them in the press.
He's the worst.
Now, I wouldn't use that language, by the way, with Rob Reiner. I believe that, when a person dies, and I said this on the air. I don't know. I'm not saying anything I haven't said. I believe that when a person dies, they're going to meet their judge. I don't have to say anything.
That goes for all of us.
We all are going to meet our judge and be held accountable for what we do on this planet. All of us.
That's one thing I agree with you on.
We agree on a lot of things, Teddy. You just don't know it. And we both agree that really Donald Trump is not the worst president ever. We could name a whole bunch of Democrat presidents that suck so bad.
Even your alumni at Andrew Jackson High School.
This country is still trying to work its way out of the FDR curse.
I went back to Andrew Jackson High School to speak to some people who might have known you, okay? And I have let them know about your philosophy and what you do now for a living at Andrew Jackson High School.
Good.
Okay?
And they should be very proud. And you know what else? Because, Teddy, time is running out. I see on the clock time is running out. But you know what else, Teddy? You have to admit one day that FDR sucks so bad that the country's still paying for it.
No, I won't admit that. He did
some
you
have
things.
To. Come on, he's the grandfather of modern-day socialism. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be in this fix. Now, he did some good stuff with World War II, but let's not ever forget what a horrible president he was. He could be the worst president and the best president for the best wartime president and the worst domestic president in American history.
Hey, Bo, can someone live on $25 an hour in New York City full-time for 40 hours, Bo?
Who runs New York City? What party has run New York City for 200 years? There's your problem, Teddy, and we have to go. I love you, Teddy. Merry Christmas.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our number duo is here. Welcome to the Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday vibe. Have that second cup of coffee with us. If Teddy, no more coffee for you. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to check in with the star anchorette, News Babe Supremo. She is the voice of her generation. She's all that and more. She is our very own Lizzie Radabali. Lizzie, how are you this Saturday morning?
Oh, Bo. I'm doing peachy keen this Saturday. The winter solstice. I'm getting ready. I'm doing all my rituals. Oh my.
What do you do for winter solstice?
I don't know. I actually just made that up. I was just lying.
Winter solstice marks it's the shortest day of the year.
Yes.
And then after that, the days start getting longer, and that means springtime is coming, life, and all the good stuff. Of course, we know what Christmas is. We know what Hanukkah is, and winter's solstice. And then the summer thing comes where it's the days are even.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's the equinox. That's the equinox.
That's when the equinox.
Yeah, the days are completely even. It's 12 hours of lightness, 12 hours of darkness.
And then the summer solstice is the longest day of the year.
Correct. Yeah, and then after that, the days just get shorter and shorter, dwindle down until like we're at the solstice once again, and life continues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so you send me some story. You always send me such amazing. I always ask myself when I see your story list for the day, what is this? And so I just have to, okay, I Show Speed sued for $1 million after beating gay robot. What? WT. Anyway.
Yes. No, this hit.
What?
Exactly. This hit all the spots for me. It has a Twitch streamer in the headline name. It has a lawsuit. I love a lawsuit. And robots are also subject in this story here. So yes, he is. I Show Speed. He is a popular streamer on Twitch. He was doing this marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, he's huge. He's like super big. I have to double check his numbers, but he has like millions of followers. And he just did a 24-hour like marathon stream event where he featured this Jake the Rizbot character. Now I have to do some more digging on Jake the Rizbot. Apparently this is some like robot influencer started by this company, Social Robotics. And Jake the Rizbot is known for like just rallying off a bunch of internet isms, like phrases and sayings. And just like being kind of a goofball. I don't know, in the headline, you mentioned, it says beating gay robot. Now, I don't know what makes Jake the Rizbot gay. Like, I'm not sure. His sexuality is not very clear. And this is a robot, mind you. So it's not really, on the human scale of sexuality, this human spectrum, I should say. But, Jake the Rizbot was assaulted by I Show Speed. He actually got damaged so bad that now he is not able to make his upcoming planned appearance with another YouTuber we've talked about.
He was assaulted.
Yes, he was assaulted.
A robot was assaulted.
Yes. And I saw the video. I watched some of the video. Like I said, this was
Wait a minute. Wait. How did he assault the robot?
Well, he squared up with the robot and started punching him. He sized him up. He was right, chest to chest with the robot. And the robot was doing what he does, saying silly phrases.
And he beat the robot up.
And that irritated I Show Speed. I Show Speed, I should say, is like notorious for kind of being like a spitfire. He's all these Twitch streamers do it.
Folks,
if
you're not following this, folks, let me just tell you, I'm with you. I understand. Because this is happening in a world that has nothing to do with your real life.
Well,
this is a different world that we are living in. Lizzie understands this world, by the way. She knows this world.
And if I could just bridge the gap, I will say
Thank you.
that I do think that the Twitch streamers, I think, emulate a lot of the, shock jocks of radio. I think that they emulate that, attention grabbing, sort of charisma that it's been used in the past before. It's been proved to work. So Twitch streamers are kind of taking that playbook and running with it. And I Show Speed, he's one of those. He just like kind of blows up out of nowhere. He gets angry, at minor things. But he's also kind of like, he could be very cutesy at some moments. So he's a layered individual, complex person, as we all are. But yeah, Jake the Rizbot. He did not get on the good side of I Show Speed, and I Show Speed started punching him. I saw some of the video. It honestly looked kind of like if I was in the room, I would be uncomfortable. The way that I Show Speed was shouting and yelling at this robot, I would be uncomfortable as a human. So,
and he beat the robot up.
And now the robot can't function. It can't move its head. And like I said, Jake the Rizbot, he has an upcoming appearance with a very big name, YouTuber Mr. Beast. So now they're suing for $1 million because they're losing out on money.
Good Lord, Agnes. Okay. Thank you for that. Like I said, folks, if you're wondering, it's just a woman is suing the IRS to have her pets classified as dependents.
Oh, yes.
Really?
This is a good story. This is an incredible story, and it comes right from here in New York. An attorney who actually owns a golden retriever is suing the IRS. She says that, her dog is like her daughter, and like being the operative word here. Like, she's like your daughter. That dog is not your daughter, ma'am. But, so I know that you probably saw this story when I sent it to you, and I don't want to assume what you thought of me, Bo, but I'm going to think that maybe you thought that I was going to side with the woman here. Did you think that I was going to?
Lizzie.
Did you think I was going to side with the woman?
That question on the grounds that it might incriminate my...
But let me say that I'm not on this woman's side. I'm definitely not, and I think that this is kind of ridiculous. Kids are dependents. Kids are tax-exempt dependents because kids grow up and then they go on to pay taxes. Your 8-year-old Finnegan Golden Retriever is never going to pay a tax in their life. They're never going to contribute to society. They're never going to pay a sales tax. They're never going to pay income taxes, property taxes, all these things. That's why we have exemptions for children, because they grow up and then they pay those same taxes. This dog is never going to do that. And then she goes on to say, well, service animals, you get a tax advantage for service animals. Yes, service animals keep you off of disability and help you operate in the world, help you, go to the store, pay some sales taxes, go to your job, be able to pay your bills, all of this. So I'm not on the woman's side. I just want to come out on the record and say that I think this is ridiculous.
You are on the record.
On the record.
Do not agree with this woman who wants her
pets. And I don't think that it is a good look for pet owners for this continued, infantilization of their own condition of being pet owners. I mean, you own the pet. Like, the pet does not own you, okay? Like, you are a responsible human being. Start acting like it. Take responsibility for your desires to care for another animal and, just deal with it.
She told her. Told her. Lizzie, I sent you a story that, and I don't know what you thought. Maybe you thought I would be on the side of the airlines here. Did you?
Well, I know from our last conversation when we talked about how one airline was proposing the standing seats. I know that flying, that's a whole different beast.
Okay. American Airlines, and I did not know this, Lizzie. I did not know until I read the story that Delta Airlines had already done this. That they, if you buy the cheap seats, the cheap basic economy seats, you don't get mileage points anymore.
Yeah.
And now American Airlines is doing this too, apparently. And people have erupted in fury. It's like, what, if you buy the lowest price seat, you're garbage?
No,
I mean, what is that? Lizzie, something about this is just so wrong to me.
Yes. No, thank you. I would 1000% have to agree with you there. I mean, what are airlines doing nowadays? I mean, we're in a point in time like where traveling is finally like bounced back. In fact, it's actually beating several record-breaking years. Last year was like a record-breaking year. It was finally like bounced back from COVID. We were topping 2019 numbers. And now we're beating those records. So I don't understand what the trepidation of these airlines are. People are traveling. People want to get out there. People want to see the world. But traveling has never been more there's never been more barriers to traveling than there is now. I mean, with this new rollout that they're doing, like you said, if you want the basic cheap seat. If you want to, if you're just going to taking a 5-hour flight across the country, you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars. You just want to get the
hundreds. Hundreds.
Yes, some seats go for thousands. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, of course. And there are some seats, on American Airlines you could get as cheap as $90, under $100. So this is, a very, very important service.
You know what happens? You know what's behind this, I think, Lizzie?
What?
All of these enhancements for frequent flyer miles. And so if you buy this card, you get miles. If you do this, you get... All of a sudden, you have all these people with miles, and when they want to cash them out, it's too overburdened. And so they have to reduce the number, somehow or another. They have to reduce the number of people who are awarded for miles.
Exactly.
Because they're getting too many people who are getting free tickets.
Yeah, 1,000%. And you point out, the American Airlines actually did not always have this basic economy option. It rolled it out in 2017, and it was bare bones when it started. Like, you couldn't even bring a carry-on bag. But now they've, added perks because they saw that it was a very popular option. People liked that option, so they added in, free snacks.
I used to love flying.
Yeah, in-flight entertainment. A lot of people do like flying. A lot of people like the process of, just even taking off, going on the plane.
I love that. But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you had a preference, and neither one of these options exist, well, it doesn't. Let me just put it like this. I don't know whether you would agree with this. If I had a choice between taking, and I never thought I would hear myself say this, a truly high-speed luxury train versus flying, I would take a high-speed luxury train. It just doesn't exist in this country.
Yeah. I mean, that's problem numero uno there, is that the tracks don't, there's no tracks for that train to run on yet. But who knows, maybe in the near future, infrastructure.
It's not going to be California.
Yeah, I know that project is, dead as a doornail. But yeah, I would definitely, a bullet train, I do think is the way of the future. Japan has shown us that. And it's probably way more efficient. I mean, flying is a whole big to-do. With tracks, you don't have to really, the air traffic controller situation that we've been dealing with this past year. I mean, that it would not happen on train tracks because there's a single track that a train has to go on if there's not multiple trains competing for the same track. I mean, there's signal trains, but all that is tech's issue to sort out.
Well, the train aficionado is going to come in now because now you start dealing with freight versus commercial. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Lizzie, you doing anything special over the holiday season?
Oh, this holiday season, I'm keeping it quiet. I'm staying, it's a good time for reflection. It's a good time to just surround yourselves with loved ones and really take stock of all that you have.
Well, I'm going to do a little reflection right now since this is the holiday spirit. And I'm going to reflect right now and just say, reflection. Lizzie, I am so blessed that you spend time with us each week. And we love you immensely.
Oh, thank you so much, Bo. I love you as well, and I appreciate this opportunity to come and talk with you every week. I mean, it's definitely a highlight of my weekend for sure.
Yeah, I always love seeing what you break into. You make me think on so many levels. Lizzie, thank you. Enjoy the holiday season, my darling, and we'll be back. I'm not going to be here next Saturday. I'm taking a vacation, first one of the year. But I will be back for the first Saturday show in January. So I look forward to, if you're here, I'm looking forward to catching up with you then.
Yes. I will see you next year. Enjoy your vacation. You deserve it, James.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. Our very own Lizzie Radabali. Ladies and gentlemen.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let me hold your hand when I say this. We do not move to America because we think it's a better country. We move here because it's a little less worse than our other countries. Because you're stupid to think that we moved to this country for some hot dogs and some baseball. We have better vibes, music, food, culture, history, literally all of the above. We just moved here because we are looking to make more money and offer a better chance for our families. Did you know that the minimum wage a day, not an hour, a day in Mexico is not even 15 American dollars? Not even 15 American dollars. Right now with $15 in San Diego, I could go maybe buy a matcha and half of a granola bar, honey. If you support ICE, you support people getting destroyed. If you support families getting destroyed, I hope you rot in hell. And I will see you there, babes, for sure.
Yes, a voice of, yes, we don't come to your country for your culture. Your culture's stupid. We only come to your country so we can take money and go back and, yeah. Okay, one of the voices that from social media. We have others that we're going to hear. I want to, when we get back, we have people that are on hold. If you're on hold, thank you for your patience. We're going to grab some more calls when we get back. We're also going to listen to a few more sound bites. I have some interesting things. I'm trying to choose between, this Obamacare stuff, which is, I'm getting a little annoyed with it now, besides it's going to hold to the new year. But in case you thought that the fraud in Minnesota was over, no, I think we have that Tim Walz one where, yes, we do, where poor Tim Walz thinks that the United States is picking on him, and he said, we'll get to all of that and more. We have more on the Kennedy Center. I've been laughing myself, as I said earlier, silly, over this whole thing. I thought Trump was just trolling them. And then when he put his name up there, it's crazy. Mitt Romney, Republican, former presidential candidate, had an editorial in the New York Times. Tax the rich, like me. From Mitt Romney. Tax the rich. Yeah.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let's head back to the telephones as promised, and then we've got so many sound bites here. I want to play some other things for you and get your impression of them, or maybe make some of them that you haven't heard, make you aware of them. But first, people have been waiting and patiently, so let's go to the phones. And Gail in Pennsylvania, you are up. How are you? Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, James. I'm calling because of the discussion regarding the Kennedy Center. And I, for one, am thrilled that President Trump has put his name alongside Kennedy. I am thrilled about it because I believe history is what it is. And even when you're talking about statues, they should be side by side in history. You don't, destroy things. And when that guy called the real fanatical Trump derangement syndrome, it makes me think how the legacy media has trained certain embittered or narcissist people to target somebody at President Trump as a scapegoat for something they're dissatisfied with in their life.
Well, I don't know whether that psychological analysis is accurate. I mean, people have always had differing political views. And I assume you're talking about Teddy. Look, Teddy is a Democrat. He's a Democrat. And Democrats think differently. I don't think he's a narcissist. I think he's just a great guy. But he thinks different than us. That's all. And which is why I asked him about the worst president. I don't know. Who do you think was the worst president, by the way, Gail, if you had to pick one?
I think President Biden, he really not only was a puppet, but really did not have all his faculties, and we had the country being run by a cabal of leftist radicals.
Interesting. By the way, if anyone else wants to answer that question briefly when you get on, who you think the worst president was, so you think Biden is up there? 11 million people 11 million people let into this country with no vetting. We are going to be paying the price for that for a long time, among the other things that Biden did. Now, a lot of them have been reversed by President Trump, but that doesn't, the damage is now we're trying to reverse the damage that was done.
Yes. Can I say one other thing regarding this PDF? Somebody that personalizes it to the extent that certain people do, it's beyond politics. That's why I'm saying I think they either have some bitterness or they just somehow need a scapegoat because it's too personal when you get that passionate about it.
Okay, I hear you. Now, you mentioned the Kennedy Center. Can we listen together to Jim Acosta? You know, he's all but forgotten since he left CNN, but he's around. Let's listen. He was standing in front of the joint. Cut 2 there, Elias. And let's Gail, you and me, let's listen to Jim Acosta.
Okay.
Well, here we are at the scene of yet another crime committed by Donald Trump. He has vandalized the Kennedy Center by putting his name on it. And he just needs to understand that, first of all, he can't do this single-handedly. Only Congress can authorize a change of name to the Kennedy Center. But yet he doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care what is appropriate. He's gone and vandalized the Kennedy Center, which is, we should note, the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center for the Performing Arts. It was named after President Kennedy after he was assassinated. Donald Trump should show some respect for that. But of course he doesn't do that. And, you know, this is what needs to be said. We, the American people, are not going to call the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center. Just like we're not going to call the Department of Defense the Department of War or the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. We, the sane, rational American people, are not going to go along with that. So Trump can act like a child. He can be a vandal, put his name up on all of these buildings, but it's not going to change what the rest of us do in response to what has been a childish and lawless administration.
So, Gail, he vandalized the building.
Terrible. I just went to the Kennedy Center, and a few weeks ago.
It's the Trump Kennedy Center.
Yes, and it was magnificent. The National Symphony Orchestra did a rousing national anthem to start. Very patriotic. They were magnificent. And I'm going to go again to see Fiddler on the Roof the end of January.
And where are you going at the end of January? Where are you going at the end of January? You're going to visit where?
To the Trump Kennedy Center. We're going again and supporting President Trump and Rick Grinnell and the Trump Kennedy Center. And we're going to see Fiddler on the Roof. It is a truly magnificent building. The National Symphony Orchestra was marvelous. Really a rich sound. It's just wonderful. And I'm thrilled that President Trump is reviving it.
I love it. Thank you. And by the way, since you love great classical music, I refer you, one of these days, I got to have on Patrick Burns again, my friend, the conductor. He's doing some amazing things. And Patrick is just, you're going to love his music too. He should perform at the Trump Kennedy Center one day. Let me see if we can make that happen, a groundswell or something one of these days. Anyway, Gail, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's head over to North Carolina and catch up with Robert in North Carolina. Robert, good morning and Merry Christmas. How are you?
Oh, good morning and Merry Christmas to you too, Bo. Hey, diesel prices need to come down. That's the one thing that's going to drop the prices of everything else almost.
Because of trucking, right? Because of let's explain that really quickly. If diesel prices come down, the cost to transport goods around the country lowers. When those costs lower, it will ripple through the economy. That's your point, correct?
That is correct. 85% probably of goods are transported by trucks and trains that use diesel.
This is a good point. Now, what do you think will be the driver for diesel prices to come down?
More production.
More production, baby. And to get more production, you have to, yes. and especially more domestic production.
Exactly. And then maybe we need another refinery or two to boost that production so we have the supply.
This man knows his stuff. Robert, thank you for that addition. We appreciate it. Let's check out Chicago, Illinois. In Chicago, we find Jerry. Jerry, how are you this holiday season?
I'm doing real good, James. Thank you very much. And from the Italians, Buona Natale. Okay.
Buona Natale.
That means Merry Christmas. I'm sure you're aware of that. Okay, here's my question. Well, first of all, the worst president, it's got to be 1A Obama and 1B Biden. Okay, here's my question. Is there any truth to the story that's on social media? So I'm very skeptical. Is there any truth to the story that's coming out of Fulton County, Georgia, that a couple 100,000 votes weren't certified by the electors' signatures? So there's a story out there that those votes weren't supposed to be counted, and technically Trump actually won the state of Georgia. So then that would have made him president.
Nah. You have opened up an interesting can of worms, as they say. Here's what we know. I don't know the answer to your question if it's true or not. What I do know is this. The DOJ has subpoenaed records from Fulton County. Fulton County has been slow, very slow in delivering, stonewalling. Once the records are in, we shall be able to make those kind of determinations. Okay. I, for one, have always been suspect about a few counties in the United States of America. And I think, let me just off the top of my head, Maricopa County, Arizona, suspicions there. Fulton County, Georgia, suspicions there. Cuyahoga County, it used to be important, but now it doesn't as much. Cook County,
Crook County.
Know what but that's been so blue, it doesn't even matter if they do or not.
That's back from the Kennedy days. That's how we got elected. Daley got the names from the cemetery.
Right. So, and then there are a few other counties. I think that people need to look at some of the counties in Pennsylvania. And also the state of Oregon with their mail-in voting scheme, and California.
But
California.
James, okay, now, James, what if all of this stuff is true? What's the repercussion from it?
Nothing. Except people need to except I'm not a warrior. I would imagine that if there is no statute of limitations on election fraud, then some people could be held accountable. But I don't even want to get into that till we know what happened.
Okay, brother. Thank you for that great explanation. You and your family, you have a very Merry Christmas and a very happy and healthy New Year.
Thank you, and thank you. You're so kind, and great holiday for you and your family. We, my friends, will return.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Lord Baltimore, Princess Diana both sent me the story. Do you have those things I just sent you? I'm assuming that we can play them. Keep your finger on the bleep button in case there's something there. We have some audio from Georgia State Election Board meeting, and Princess Diana and Lord Baltimore both sent me the story. Fulton County says 315,000 votes lacking sign-off counted in 2020. Let's just play it and see what comes up. I'm just interested.
Good afternoon for the next 10 or 15 cases.
Yeah. Sticking with you here.
I've not seen the tapes myself, but we do not dispute that the tapes were not signed. It was a violation of the rule. We, since 2020, Again, we have new leadership and a new building and a new board and new standard operating procedures. And since then, the training has been enhanced. The poll watchers are trained specifically. They've got to sign the tapes in the morning, and they've got to sign the tapes when they're run at the end of the day. When the tapes come back to the hub for, with all the documentation, they are checked again. And if somebody forgot to sign a tape, then Fulton initiates an investigation. But we don't have
Next one. Let's just roll to the next one. Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is not partisan. This is statutory. This is the law. When the law demands 3 signatures on tabulator tapes and the county fails to follow the rules, those 315,000 votes are, by definition, uncertified. Fulton County's deliberate or grossly negligent destruction of the audit trail for more than 315,000 votes is a national disgrace. The only honest remedy 5 years later is for the state election board to impose sanctions on Fulton County, have them publicly acknowledge their violations, and for the state to decertify Fulton County's 2020 advanced voting results. It's not to change who sits in the White House or what the score was, but instead to place an indelible and permanent asterisk on the record and finally force accountability.
Next one.
We found identical protective counters across several different polling places, polls that were opened 8 days late, polls closed at impossibly late hours like 2:09 a.m. in the morning, and poll closing times that do not match the tapes on pages 4 and 5. On pages 6, 7, 11, and 12, we found duplicated scanner serial numbers where the memory devices were removed from one scanner and printed on an alternate scanner. These are not clerical errors. They are catastrophic breaks in chain of custody and certification. Because no tape was ever legally certified, Fulton County had no lawful authority to certify its advanced voting results to the Secretary of State. Yet it did.
Next one, just quickly. Let's see what.
All right, you got some exhibits I'm giving to you up there. Good afternoon, board members. My name is David Cross. I filed this complaint in March of 2022 with the State Election Board, documenting systemic violations of Georgia law in Fulton County's handling of advanced voting in 2020.
Okay, that's
our group paid.
Folks, the caller called with a great question, and we got answers. Thank you, Princess Diana again, and Lord Baltimore. Yes is the answer to the question. The question was 320,000. It is 315,000 votes that were by law, and what defines law, illegally counted and signed off on in the 2020 election in Fulton County. So question answered. Yes, there has been malfeasance in Fulton County. Who, by the way, Fannie Willis, Fulton County, just saying. So that answers that question. Interesting, that. Wanted to get some more calls. Jean from Mount Vernon, I need you to hang on there. I'm going to be with you. She has been holding on for so long. And just please be patient with me. I'm going to grab more calls when we can. We are approaching the end of our number duo, but I wanted to get that in as quickly as it came in answer to the great question. I don't even know how I missed it. Stories, by the way, you can find at the Federalist. Fulton County, we don't dispute. 315,000 votes lacking poll workers' signatures were counted in 2020. And then you heard the testimony from the hearing, thank you, Lord Baltimore, at the Georgia State Election Board meeting.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Here we are, my friends, already. Our number trio. It just flies, doesn't it? Our number trio on this, your Saturday morning extravaganza, your Saturday morning vibe. Time for that 4th cup of coffee. Well, if you have the big ones like I do, 2nd cup. Anyway, our number trio means it's time to check in.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy, Princess Di.
Time to check in with the ness, the goodness, the loveliness, the sweetness, the political analysisness, the social analysisness, and Her Highness Princess Diana. Welcome, Your Highness. How are you this morning?
I am doing very well, thank you, Sir Jamesness.
Yes. I was shocked, I tell you, that I missed that story, and I'm so glad that you, Lord Baltimore, sent me that story. This thing with Fulton County just blew my mind.
It's unbelievable. And it's not surprising you missed it. I mean, there has been so much news, and it comes, second by second, as we've always said, a fire hose. And there are a lot of important stories that kind of get missed until you have time to go back and be reminded.
Wow. Of course, too late for anything to happen with this, but all these people that kept saying everything's fine, and we kept saying things are not fine. Things were not fine.
Wait a minute. What do you mean nothing will happen?
What do you think's going to happen here?
This is huge, James. Huge.
What's going to happen?
Let me explain. When it comes to legal vulnerability for Donald Trump, who was sued for trying to basically overturn, is their word, an election, Georgia itself. And so now that case completely goes away for history. There is no more ability of anyone to say that Donald Trump tried to pressure Georgia in that phone call. There was a lot of legal maneuverings going on, and this is enormous for the record.
Wow. Okay, then. I look forward to coming days to see what happens then. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Because they can't let it happen. By the way, just before we get to the two stories, I want you to talk about the two stories that you sent me that you want to talk about, definitely. But I don't know whether you've had as much mirth and frivolity as I have over this Trump Center thing. I'm just, and liberals are outraged. And when liberals are outraged, for some reason, it just makes me laugh. Outrage!
Yes. There's two stories like that. The first one was the one you're discussing is Trump's name on the side of the building, which has completely made them lose their minds again. And the second one was these plaques that he wrote on his presidential wall of presidences. And he had been enjoying taking all of the reporters and visitors down that long colonnade and showing, the auto pen instead of Joe Biden's portrait. But now he has added captions to all of the presidents, and they are hilarious. He wrote them himself, a lot of them. And the media has gone into conniption on that too. So this is a duo, and it reminds me of what Rush used to talk about, how basically the laser pointer and cat have, you take a laser pointer and the cat will chase the laser pointer. Democrats and the media cannot resist when Trump does these, the apparent braggadocio kind of things. They cannot in any way resist, and they go into enormous conniption fits. And this is huge political energy that they are exerting on nothing. And if you look at a lot of the news media and the outrage and whatever, you've got, the Trump Kennedy Center, and there's an actual an account on X now, which is called the Trump Kennedy Center, that posts proudly of, today we proudly unveil the updated exterior designation honoring the leadership of of President Donald J. Trump and the enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy. And the reaction online to this X account has been just, fury and whatever. And so these plaques and the name of Donald Trump on the side of the wall, these have absolutely no political strength for the Democrats or the left, and they cannot help it. They are just wasting days and weeks on fury and ginning up how dare you kind of stuff, and it's not helping them at all. You've got, also some of the things we've talked about is the post on the Rob Reiner murder and the Somalis being called garbage in his statement. A lot of these things cause days of upset and ink is spilled and electrons are wasted by the left on these things that will not help them at all in any political way. Meanwhile, as I mentioned to you, Trumponomics is working. This has been a huge story this week, and I don't know if you saw, I posted it on my account on X, the Bloomberg live reaction to the new inflation numbers. Did you happen to catch that?
I didn't see that, but I posted about same as you on the inflation numbers, and unexpectedly, inflation is slow. Unexpectedly, inflation is slowing. Unexpectedly.
But this was huge because, and I was watching this live Bloomberg, the experts on the panel, they were talking before the numbers were announced, and they were all in their arrogant phase. Oh, we know what's going to happen. This is going to show the tariffs working its way through the economy, hurting the economy. Inflation is going to be up. They expected 3.1% inflation. That was the accumulated wisdom of all of the economic and Wall Street analysts. They had basically predicted 3.1. And so they were all sitting there with their, we knew that this Trump person is ruining everything and we're happy about his political problems. And then the numbers came in and there was this pause, this shock, this look of dismay. They were humming. Oh, no. They could not even speak. Well, this is a surprise. How can this be? It came in at 2.7 for the core and 2.8 for the consumer price index, which was 3 points less than expected, which is enormous. And so as they were talking, they were immediately trying to figure out how to get to their default settings. And so they started talking about how, these numbers are noisy because they had the government shut down. And so some of the record keeping had to be a little bit different. And so this is a noisy report. It's too good, they said. It's too good. In other words, too good to be true. And then they started looking down at some of the numbers and they're like, well, you can still see the affordability crisis in here if you look. And so by the end, they had talked themselves into not having to acknowledge the fact that this was the first number expected to show that tariffs do not work and they cause nothing but economic problems. And it did the opposite. And so ever since Thursday, you have seen enormous silence from the media because everything that they and the left and every economic expert has predicted did not come true. The opposite came true, and Trump has been proven right. And so the economy is now on a glide path, on a rocket ship to enormous prosperity. And I told you all along it would take about a year. And I think that the beginning signs of it are going to be hitting people's feelings starting next month. And that will be about a year from when Trump's policy started. So I am very excited. This was evidence. This is data. And so it doesn't matter what they're worried about on the left, and let them scream and yell about Donald Trump's name on the side of the building. Meanwhile, the economy is taking off, and that is what matters.
Wow. Let me just say this to you. I wish I had the headline in front of me. The first story I saw on inflation, and I forgot which one of the mainstream outlets it was. I don't have it in front of me at the moment. I was so confused by the headline that I had to keep rereading it to try to figure out what they were saying. And that was intentional. There wasn't a clear message that, hey, the inflation numbers are much better than we expected them to be. It was such a confusing head. I wish I could find it real quickly to read it to you because it was written in such a way. I've never seen a headline like that. I was like, what the hell does this mean? But anyway, it was, deliberate. Deliberate. It was deliberate. Okay. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, Princess Di. I want you to take calls with me. Those of you on hold, you're going to be talking with Princess Diana and me, because at the end of the show today, I want to do a Christmas tribute, a little bit of a tribute to our boss, Rush. And because, holiday season for him was a big deal. It started the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to leave the last Saturday show of the year without saying a few words about Rush and about Noah. So to do that, we're just going to move through. We're going to get some calls next, Princess Diana, you and me. And then we'll check in with America's Small Caffeinated Mom today a little bit earlier than usual.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Tell you what, let's take some calls, shall we? Folks, if you're on the phones, I'm just going to ask you to just keep it a little short. We can try to squeeze as many calls as we can. Gene from Mount Vernon has been waiting. Good morning, Gene. You're on with both Princess Di and me. How are you?
Hi there, Bo. I started listening when you were playing Bobby Darin this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I almost forgot. Yeah, Bo, but you're talking also about Rush Limbaugh. I'm 88 years old, and my husband and I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh, and when he was down in Florida, I know that he and his wife had a little company that they were selling things from. I think it was tea for two or two for tea.
Two if by tea.
Two if by tea. And we were so sorry when he was lost. We knew that lung cancer, if you smoke, is a big positive. And we were so pleased that President Trump gave him an award when he was president before he passed away.
Wow. Thank you. Diana, that was a moment I don't think any of us will ever forget, when Donald Trump forced the entire Democrat Party, elected Democrat Party in Washington, to witness Rush Limbaugh having the Medal of Freedom that night. What do you say?
Such a wonderful triumph. It was just, well earned, well deserved, and it was a moment that Rush really enjoyed. He put it on the cover of the newsletter, if you remember, and he was extremely proud and honored at it. And I just wanted to mention, I don't know if you ever read the piece I wrote. You said you were going to talk about Rush and the tribute. I wrote a piece that's pinned at the top of my X account, at Diana Me. It's called Christmas Without Rush Limbaugh. I wrote it the first year that we did not have Rush to celebrate Christmas with, and it really expresses our sense of loss, especially in this Christmas season, because you're right, he loved Christmas.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. When we hang up, Princess Di, we're not done for the day. Well, I'm going to call you back before we do that. You and I are going to close out the show today talking about that. So, on the spot, see how it happens, folks? Let's go to Westchester County and Rex. Rex, you're on the line with Princess Di and with Bo Snerdley. How are you?
Good, and it's a pleasure to be with both of you. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, and my thought was on the Kennedy Center. At least President Trump had the courtesy of keeping the Kennedy name on it, and not so much with Governor Cuomo, with the kind of usurping the Tappan Zee away from the Native American Indians that were the people of the Lenape tribe in the area, and Z was Dutch for the wide expanse of the Hudson River at that point. So he just ripped that right out. I still call it the Tappan Zee Cuomo Bridge at this point.
Ew! Whoa! Isn't that something there?
Cultural appropriation. I think that's wonderful. I do think that it's important to note that Rich, the fellow who's in charge of the Kennedy Center, his name escapes me at the moment. He used to be
Rick Grenwell.
Grinnell. Yes.
Grinnell.
He mentioned that one of the things that people do not understand is how much Trump did as a builder who knew what he was looking at to save that building, which was crumbling. He ordered shoring up of the foundation. He did all kinds of things that never got any coverage to bring it to what it should be quality-wise.
Because it was falling down. Princess Di, don't go away. Stay right there.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Princess Diana is here. Princess, let's take a few more calls really quickly, and then we're going to have to scoot along. Let's go to our Gracie. My Gracie is calling from Rockland County, New York. Gracie, welcome. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful, and you're my beau. Princess Di, I still have my newsletters. You had something to do with them. I love them. I love them. I love them. Those letters were so full of truth. They were amazing. I started listening to my Rush that first week in July 1988 when I was a soccer mom. Now I'm a little old lady from, I'm going to say Pasadena, but from New City, New York, and thank you for all you did in working with him, and he was the GOAT.
Wow. And for those of you that don't know, Princess Diana was the editrix of the Limbaugh Letter, the most widely read political newsletter in U.S. history, from issue number 1 until the final issue of the Limbaugh Letter. You want to respond to Gracie, Princess?
Well, I just so appreciate her kind words. And, you know, Rush was the executive editor, and it was all from him. It came from his creative genius and his ideas, and, you know, his voice on the radio is sorely missed, and especially his leadership as the conservative movement is devolving a little bit into some kind of conflict. And Rush would have been an important voice to steer us right.
Boom. Lee in New Jersey is calling in. Lee, what's on your mind this morning?
Hey, Bo. I just wanted to comment that since Rush passed, you don't ever hear any Mannheim Steamroller anymore.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Stay tuned. Thank
you.
All right. Margaret in Westchester County, New York. Hello, Margaret.
First, would like to say regarding the Kennedy Center that I'm sure somewhere in this universe, Marilyn Monroe is smiling down on us and laughing her head off.
Oh, I can't. Oh. That was beautiful, Margaret.
But I did call to say something that's been long on my mind, is that I want to thank you so much for all the amazing information that you give us. I listen to you 6 days a week. You're the only reason why I would wake up on 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And I've learned so much about politics from you, and I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the music, and most of all, for your kindness. I wish you a very Merry Christmas with your family.
Gosh. You just gave me Christmas, my darling. Thank you. That was so wonderful for you to say, And thank you. I so appreciate you, Margaret, and I appreciate everybody who listens here and makes the effort. I know, 7 o'clock in the morning, trust me, I get it. And thank you so much.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Snerdley, America's small caffeinated mom, is with us, our very own Rhonda Schrock. Rhonda, last opportunity we'll have to be on the air together before Christmas, which is coming this week. So I'm so grateful. Let me just say that to you and for all the inspiration that you provide us during this year.
Thank you so much, James. It's really just such a joy to me to do that weekly. It really is. It's a highlight for me.
What have you got for us this beautiful Christmas week coming?
Yes. Well, back in October, one of my very closest friends came down with a cold. Now, she and her husband have a young family. They have 2 teenagers and 2 elementary school children. So their family is young and growing, and she came down with a cold that turned into a cough that just began to burrow way down deep into her chest. She could feel the congestion in her lungs. She could hear herself wheezing. And anytime she would move, she would just have this shortness of breath. So she finally went to the doctor. He put her on an antibiotic and sent her home. And she continued to struggle. And it got worse. And to the point where finally one night she could scarcely draw a breath. And so when her husband came home from work, she said, I think I need to go to the urgent care center. So he took her to the urgent care center locally. And they took a look at her and they said, we cannot help you. You need to go to the emergency room. So they went to the emergency room, and, of course, they immediately did a chest X-ray, and then they returned to her room. They said, we're going to do a CT scan just to follow up on something. So they took her back for the CT scan, and when the emergency room physician came back with the report, he was very grave. And he said that the imaging had returned showing the presence of a large mass. It's not good, he said. It's very concerning. And so immediately he ordered that she be taken by ambulance to an oncology center in another town. They decided between the 2 of them, since it was late at night, that her husband would go back home to be with their 4 children, to explain to them what was happening with their mother, and just to spend the night with them. So they loaded her in that ambulance, in the ambulance for a midnight ride to an oncology department. She was telling me all of this over lunch one day this week, and as she was describing that midnight ride all alone, her face was very peaceful. Her voice was filled with peace, and she told me that she knew that she was not alone in that ambulance because Mary's child was riding with her, and his presence was her great consolation. So the next morning, since this was the middle of the night, they did not, text all their friends, but the next morning we all got a text from her husband explaining what was happening, that they had found a large mass, that she was going to be going for a biopsy that day. So we were all stunned. None of us could imagine our lives without her. She is a loving, sacrificial, intuitive person. I mean, just a jewel. And I couldn't even let my mind go there that this could end badly. So throughout the day, we all knew that the afternoon was going to bring that biopsy, and we would just all pray from wherever we were, just stop at work and we just all prayed very hard on her behalf. And as she told me earlier this week, the pulmonologist, as he came in before he took her to do the scope, and he said to her, what we see is concerning, but the Lord is with us. And that comforted her so much. They put her to sleep and they took her back for the procedure. I want to pause here just for a bit as I'm telling her story. In the Christmas story, Angels came down to the earth, and they announced the news of the Christ child's birth to the shepherds. And I just want to say how much I love that they brought that incredible news to the lowly shepherds. They did not carry that to the ruling class, to the elite, to the wealthy. They brought that wonderful news to the working class. I just love that. But in the biblical story, there were angels who came down from heaven, delivered the news, and then they left. Recently, I have become more aware of and more convinced of the presence of angels in this world because there are things that happen here that have no human or scientific explanation. They cannot be explained any other way. So while I don't worship angels, I do fully believe that they are present, they are active in our lives, they give us comfort and strength and support. But now back to my friend in that hospital room. That evening, as we waited and held our breath for the update, I was standing outside. We had gone outdoors to do something, and I was just standing there waiting for my family, and I was looking up at the sky, and all of a sudden, it was like I could just picture angels going back and forth from heaven to earth, doing their duties, and it was as though for a moment in time, that veil between heaven and earth was gossamer thin. And I got the strongest impression. I suddenly saw her in her hospital room. I just could picture her in her bed waiting, and I got the strongest impression that she had had an angel in her room beside her bed. And I pondered that for a bit because that can sound crazy, but that impression would not leave me. So late that night before I retired, I texted that to her. As I said, there are things that happen that have no human explanation because this is the text I received from her the next day when she was able to text. And these are her exact words. Rhonda, I'm just so grateful to Jesus. That picture of the angel is what I was praying for. And that's what I received. She had an angel in her room with her. Well, after the procedure was finished, the pulmonologist came back, and then this is her husband's message that he sent out to all of us who were waiting with bated breath. I quote him. Dr. F just came to see me again and showed me the scan from last night. There was definitely something on the image. Then he showed me the scan after the procedure today, and there is nothing there anymore. God is good even in the storm, but my day is brighter now, unquote. In that night of their personal storm, a light appeared, and we all gave fervent thanks. We were so thankful and grateful. On the scope and on the scan, there was nothing left. She has had all of her records sent to her physicians here. Everyone who has reviewed her chart, who has reviewed the images, all say there was a large mass on the first scan. It is very concerning. But on the subsequent scan, we do not see it anymore. The hope and joy of Christmas is for all people, and I quote the angels in the account with the shepherds, do not be afraid. I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. That joy and that hope are for all people. And every year it is so good for us to remember that hope and joy are available to us all throughout the year. And sometimes actual miracles happen. From all of my family, all 6 of us, I just wish you, James, the team there, and all of the people in our listening audience a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I wish hope and joy to all.
Amen. Rhonda, I got chills on that one. That is, wow. Where can people find your essay, Rhonda?
The essay is in the columnist section on your website, which is thedailybs.com.
And where can people find you?
And my website, with all the past essays and so much more, is at rhondaschrock.com, SCHROCK. You're so special to me, James.
And you, Rhonda, are just divinely special to me. Thank you for that. That was a beautiful, 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 inspirational story to end up our weekend shows here for this year. We'll be back on January 3rd with that. And Rhonda, again, you are just such an amazing blessing. You're sharing, and you share a lot that people would prefer in some cases to keep quiet. The struggles that you, your family have been through, and all the stories that you bring us bring delight. You mentioned, and one of the things that angels do is bring comfort and guidance. And Rhonda, you're evidence of it being an angel. And thank you.
Well, you're so kind. James, I never want the hard things that I go through to be wasted just on me. And if someone else can receive hope and joy and guidance from my stories, from my failures, then by all means, I have to share it. So thank you for giving me the place to do that.
Rhonda, thank you. God bless you. And we'll speak with you soon.
Yes. Goodbye.
All right. Bye. Princess Diana is back with us, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas time. This is Mannheim Steamroller. Rush made this group a national, international phenomenon because he talked about it on his syndicated show and talked about his experiences. In fact, you and I shared an experience. He took us very early this year, 1994 this came out, and he took us, members of his staff, flew us out to Chicago to see them in concert. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely. It's an unbelievably important milestone in our lives.
And this song we used every year in the years that he was on the air to close out the year. I'm going to play it twice. I'm going to play it today and Tuesday when I do the local show, not local show, the other syndicated show during the week. But I wanted to talk for a moment about Rush at Christmas time. 5 years ago, we were in COVID, and while he was getting his cancer treatment, so we could not go in the studio. And we kept, even when he was in the hall, we had masks, whatever. But right before Christmas, that final year, he brought Brian, Dawn, and me in the studio so that we could give him a hug and exchange gifts and stuff. Because he loved Christmas, and you wrote about that. And then just take a minute and tell people your observations of Rush and Christmas.
Well, as I write in that piece, it always wasn't that way, and he would get sad during that season often. I think a lot of it was missing his dad, who passed in near Christmas time. And however, over time, that gloominess lifted and changed. And I think, and that was my theory, much of it was because of his enjoyment of these beautiful pieces that helped him grieve and then celebrate. And so I find this piece almost unbearable to hear again. And I just want to repeat what he said the last time he played it. He's saying, my point in everything that I'm sharing with you is to say thank you and to tell everybody involved how much I love you from the bottom of a sizable and growing and still beating heart. And there's room for much more, all because I have learned what love really is. And that was his last message of gratitude and thanks, which is the message of Christmas that we all have toward that great gift.
His generosity, the stories have really not ever been written in full. They can't be. And not only the generosity of him, but the generosity of his audience raised millions and millions and millions of dollars for cancer research and for other causes to help military veterans and their families, fallen warriors, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, and so many other charities that they donated to. So we wanted to leave you today, ladies and gentlemen, on this, the final Saturday broadcast of this year, Princess Diana, wishing you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. And I want to give a special thanks to those people that work with me. This is not done alone. We have Elias here today, Rod is here today, TJ's here with me, and so many others that contribute to this show happening. All of our contributors, like Princess Di, Lizzie, Rhonda Schrock, and you. And I want to say thank you for everything. God bless you. And Merry Christmas. And God willing, we'll join you again next year. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.